442-9112.
Seattle's right choice for conservative talk radio. AM 770 KTTH Seattle. Now, the latest from Fox News.
Emotions run deep at the White House. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Students, parents, and teachers voiced their concerns about school safety and gun laws to President Trump, Vice President Mike Pence, and Education Secretary Betsy DeVos today. Andrew Pollack lost his daughter in the South Florida high school shooting.
My beautiful daughter I'm never going to see again. And it's simple. It's not, we could fix it.
The White House hosting a listening session in the wake of last week's deadly school shooting.
We have to stop this. We have to stop it. If he's not old enough to buy a drink, to go and buy a beer, he should not be able to buy a gun at 18 years old. I mean, that's just common sense. We have to do common sense. Please, Mr. Trump. These are things we have to do.
Carrie Gruber's child is a student at the Parkland, Florida high school. Hundreds of students filled the Florida State Capitol building today, pressing lawmakers there to pass tougher gun control laws. Several of the students were from the school where 17 students and adults were killed last week. In California, authorities say they believe they prevented a school shooting after a school resource officer reported overhearing a student talking about an attack.
The 17-year-old was arrested for making criminal threats. His brother was arrested last night on 5 criminal charges, including possession of an assault weapon, import of high-capacity magazines, criminal storage of firearms, and a failure to register a personal handgun.
Los Angeles County Sheriff Jim McDonald says the students attended El Camino High School in South Whittier. About 30 people demanding a conversation about a sweep of suspected MS-13 and other gang members on New York's Long Island that was praised by President Trump has been shrouded in secrecy. Federal and state authorities have refused repeated requests from media to release basic information, including names of suspects and charges against them. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-257-5251. 1-800-257-5251. 1-800-257-5251.
When you're hiring, you don't want to sort through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Diana's hired with Indeed.
It just gives me so many more qualified applicants to choose from.
Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Hey, this hour of the Todd Herman Show is brought to you by Jeff's Auto Repair.
Live and local from the Online Trading Academy studios, this is the Todd Herman Show on AM 770 KTTH and streaming everywhere at KTTH.com. Now, welcome your independent conservative, Todd Herman.
Online Trading Academy studio. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Todd Herman Show, the only live and local conservative talk show in all of Western Washington's afternoon drive. Lots to get to, including the silliest. No, I know it's sincere. I know I don't know the emailer personally, but I know him through social media. I know it's sincere, but it's the silliest email I've ever received in relation to the so-called gun control discussion. You probably saw this video. A young woman just through luck, to be honest, escaped apparently being raped at one of these barista or bikini barista stands. Hot shots. There's so much to learn from in this video, and in fact, there's much to learn from what we have in one sentence. They caught the guy. One sentence in this article to learn about our area as we talk about gun control, as there's walkouts at Bremerton and other high school. Kids have walked out. We'll probably get to some of that audio. Get to all of this in just a few seconds. Right now, we'll check traffic with Right Way Traffic, brought to you by the Online Trading Academy.
These slow spots we have to warn you about. Starting up in Bellevue and to drive home on southbound 405 comes to a crawl from southeast 8th Street. Stays heavy too out towards 44th Street. Taking a look at I-5, going to be slow both directions, northbound in Everett from Highway 526, very crowded out towards 41st Street. Southbound I-5 is going to be tough as well from Lake City Way to crowded to Union Street. Also a crash coming in northeast Novelty Hill Road eastbound at 208. You're listening to AM 770 KTTH.
Attend a free Online Trading Academy workshop. Text the word BACKUP to 57682 and register for ongoing Bellevue workshops and a Silverdale workshop March 7th. Text BACKUP to 57682. Really a terrifying video, and I encourage you to show it to your young daughters. It happened at the so-called, I guess it's just called Hot Shots Espresso in Kent. I know a young woman who used to work in one of those. It's just, I think her mom was justifiably scared to have her daughter working in these. It happened very early in the morning, around 4 a.m., as I understand it. In the video, this guy walks up to the window. You know these little huts, and the young women dress revealingly, in a revealing manner. So he walks up to the hut, and the young lady turns around to make coffee, and this guy climbs in through the window, and he's got a knife. And as he climbs, and he's very careful. He moves the tip jar so it doesn't spill. She doesn't hear that. He crawls in and produces the knife, and the young woman falls to, not her knees, but sits on her bottom and backs up against the wall, protecting her body with her knees. And he is talking to her, and it looks like she's trying to reason with him. He has the knife. He eventually grabs her by the arm and begins to lead her out of the building. Now, this is someone's daughter. This is someone's probably girlfriend. This is someone's family. This is a neighbor. This is a young kid who's trying to get by. This is a young kid who's trying to earn a living. And she's going to be raped. And a car pulls up. And the car saves her. The headlights freak this guy out. He leaves. And thank the Lord, this young woman is not raped. There's so much to this. Point number one, do not be transported. In a circumstance like that, the reason to transport you is not in your best interest, ever. It is never in your best interest to leave where you are at. Point number two, anything at that point becomes a weapon. Anything. Particularly your legs, which are stronger than your arms, ladies. And you know where to kick. Right? You know to kick in the crotch, the knees. Your teeth are brilliant weapons. Yes, he has a knife. It's incredibly scary. This young woman is lucky. Now, would she have been stabbed? Don't know. I bet you she would have been raped. Because he was trying to drag her into the alley. And remember, it's dead dark at night. The other thing for these espresso stand owners, what are you thinking? Those windows shouldn't be like that. I'm sorry, yes, the young ladies need to hand the coffee to the people, largely men who drive up. But for God's sake, get some safety glass on there so that some guy can't just crawl in through there. And get an alarm. Get an alarm that there's a panic alarm the young lady can reach up on either side of the stand and press and have lights and sirens go off. For God's sake, take care of these girls. That's something else to learn. Good thing their girl didn't have a gun or... Oh, yeah. Well, she didn't. And nor did the assailant. He had gloves, but no mask. He had a knife and gloves. Now, when he was caught as a suspect, they're not naming him yet because they're calling him a suspect. When he was caught, what do you think we already know about him? What do you think?
Our incarceration rate in the state of Washington is among the 10 lowest in the United States.
He has an extensive criminal history. and he's prowling around an espresso stand trying to rape a young girl. And Heroin Dan Satterberg says,
our incarceration rate in the state of Washington is among the 10 lowest in the United States.
And he's bragging about it. Low incarceration rate means more guys like that circulating in our area. So that's another thing to learn. You may want to pledge to yourself to learn to protect yourself in these circumstances physically, and you should pledge to yourself. The other thing you might want to do, and I insist that you do, and I beg that you do, is promise to yourself. He's running for re-election. Do not vote, no matter what. Do not vote for Heroin Dan Satterberg. That man pretends to be a prosecuting attorney, but that man is bragging about a low incarceration rate when that man isn't standing around in espresso stands late at night like this young lady was. Out of Olympia, there's a bill. I absolutely stand by it. It's a bill that would teach kids in K through 12 what to do in the case of a sexual assault, how to report it, how to prevent it, how to look for the signs of this. Now, the teachers union will get involved in this. It's going to be politicized. It's well-intended. Representative Gina McCabe is a Republican from Goldendale. It's a well-intended bill. She says, look, we teach our children what to do in the event of an earthquake, what to do in a fire drill, or stranger danger, which is, by the way, the very wrong thing to teach the kids, stranger danger. But we're not teaching our children what to do in the event of being sexually assaulted. I implore you today, let's be the voice for kids who are too scared to speak. Totally applaud. Absolutely. I have had kids come to me when I worked in the government school, 3 kids, one day, who came to tell me they were being sexually assaulted. So it is important they know how to reach out to. Here's what I find so fascinating. It's another point of comparison. The schools are going to teach kids how to come forward and say, I am being sexually assaulted. At the same time as they are saying to girls in locker rooms, let the naked boy look at you. That's what they're saying. I find it fascinating in comparison. Now, it's not sexual assault. There's a young boy who thinks he's a girl and wants you to pretend he's a girl and is going to use the force of government to force you to pretend he's a girl. But they're telling girls, shut up. Or you'll be a bigot. So, on one hand, the right thing. On the other hand, the very, very wrong thing. Further in Olympia, Evergreen State College. This is a beautiful piece of comeuppance. This is something for which I'm having a huge case of.
Shut the boy down.
You ever have that? And I get it bad because it comes with the rash. I get the great big. I have taken full-on pleasure at the pain of others. But then there's a downside. Evergreen State College is predicting a 20% drop in enrollment. Huh. Why, I wonder? Could it be that you have gangs of leftist thugs with baseball bats breaking the windows in the science building and kicking professors off campus because they refused to sign off on a day where white people would be intimidated to not coming to class? You think that could have something to do with the 20% expected drop in enrollments? 20%! Over a year's period. May it continue, maybe 40%. I would love to see it down to just the thugs with baseball bats going there. But our taxes support that lunatic asylum. And Michelle Esteban with Como talked to a man who is now moving because of high property taxes.
I'm losing my community. I'm losing my family. I'm losing my home.
When Mark Richards bought his Seattle home 23 years ago, he thought he'd never leave.
Because of the property taxes and the constant assessments, I can't afford to keep my house.
He says it's simple math. 3 jobs is not enough to cover his 25% property tax jump from 2017 to this year. His bill went up $1,342.06.
I'm going to have to sell, and I can't even afford to stay in the area.
The 65-year-old plans to pack up his home and be moved out by June. He also leaves behind his dream jobs, being an advocate for young foster kids in King County, and this choir director's passion, singing solos. You get invited?
Yeah.
And you go. You have to perform?
Yeah.
And that voice, that's leaving Seattle. Those taxes support entities like Evergreen College, Evergreen State College. Those taxes support madness. Have you made yourself a promise yet? We can do something on our side. The Republican, King County prosecutor, that calls himself a Republican, your non-vote for him could be one of the biggest and most important statements for sanity that we could possibly have in this area. We'll come back on the Todd Herman Show. Speaking of, for those of you who can't stand CNN, oh, this is delicious. I'm telling you, pull over. I don't drink wine, so I wouldn't even pretend to know what wine would go with this, but pull over, pop open a Guinness, don't drink and drive. Sit back in a chair and enjoy CNN. You know that annoying last thread of respectability that you see when they're on TV? It's hanging from their beak, and it swings around like one of the booger hairs. That fell out today. It's gone. The booger hair of credibility left on CNN is gone. I'll share this with you when we come back in the Todd Herman Show. Right now, we'll check traffic with Right Way Traffic.
These slow spots we have to warn you about. Starting up in Bellevue and to drive home on southbound 405 comes to a crawl from southeast 8th Street. Stays heavy too out towards 44th Street. Taking a look at I-5, going to be slow both directions, northbound in Everett from Highway 526, very crowded out towards 41st Street. Southbound I-5 is going to be tough as well from Lake City Way, stays crowded to Union Street. Also a crash coming in northeast Novelty Hill Road eastbound at 208. You're listening to AM 770 KTTH.
Caller, this breaking news this morning on the Jason. The AM 770 KTTH mobile app is the best source for breaking news from your favorite local conservative voices. Listen to full episodes from Jason Rams and Todd Herman. So much to get to this morning, including breaking news notifications. Read the latest stories from KTTH.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rams. No matter where you are, listen to me, Rush, Medved, and Todd Herman using the AM 770 KTTH mobile app.
Brought to you by Absolute Return Solutions, your retirement fix.
What if you could throw out the glasses and the contact lenses and throw out some taxes all at the same time? Well, you can, because with King LASIK through the end of this month, and by the way, that's only about 6-7 months.
Ask for help sometimes, and I think that that's the hardest thing, because you start losing those human connections. You now have a connection with an addiction, and with that connection comes guilt, and comes fear, and a lot of times you end up traumatized, and you end up running, and the next thing you know, you're intoxicated, and you have thoughts that are going on in your brain, and as soon as you're intoxicated, the processor in your brain shuts off, and now all of a sudden, taking your life when you're intoxicated seems like a good idea, when maybe it didn't seem like a good idea in this case. It seems like this is what Vicky's talking about, when he wasn't intoxicated. Other people, though, can be stone cold sober and end up taking their life, and again, a lot of times people look at it and say, I didn't see it coming, so...
Yeah, and when you talk about the addiction side of things, it's important to stop. And when we're talking about the stories about here in Seattle, people who are maybe homeless and are addicted and shooting up. Yesterday on the show, we were talking about kind of a quasi-debate about whether or not we should be providing more places for people to dump their needles. And understandably, some people hear that and they have this knee-jerk reaction. We shouldn't be encouraging drug use. And, we discuss these types of things, and we think of it only as this sort of kind of underground, impoverished problem, often linked to homelessness. But then when you see this played out amongst the people who are as successful as you can possibly be,
right.
Especially in his field, and also a beloved man.
That's right.
Not just a successful man and a very talented and gifted man, but just like somebody who sounds like by all the stories I've heard, and clearly you've read them too, just like everybody knew him, loved him, and then that person ends up taking their life because of this thing called addiction. So now here we have the two different ends of the spectrum when you think of wealth and power and influence and those who don't have it at all because they're living on the streets. But then think about everybody who's in between there. Everybody, people who look like you and me and everybody else who's just kind of living in this middle state in America economically and everything, and it's all around us. And so I hope that we can kind of recognize that. We can look for signs in case somebody that we know and love is struggling, or maybe even we're hard. Somebody that we know but maybe don't know that well, maybe just reach out, hey buddy, how you doing?
No.
Hip hip, you're right?
Right.
And
Right.
just kind of checking in on these things, because it wears so many different faces.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so well said. Give out a phone number here. Sometimes it's hard to look fear in the face on your own, and it's hard to face your own thoughts on your own. You can call this number, 1-800-273-8255. There'll be somebody on the other side of the line that'll just talk to you, have a conversation with you. You can remain anonymous. It's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. 1-800-273-8255. Yeah, sometimes you just need someone to talk you through and talk you down. You face your fears. All right, we're all addicted to something. So you're not alone. We are all addicted to something. We all need to be on a road to recovery. It's the Ron and Don Show on Power Radio.
Lucian's Podcast. Back to the Todd Herman Show. Live and local on AM 770 KTTH. Always on at KTTH.com.
Coming up about 10 minutes, our morning show, man, Jason Rantz has an exclusive story that's about to hit the web to do with school shootings in our area. You got to hear this. Jason's going to join us about 4:33. Welcome back to the Todd Herman Show. CNN, I was mentioning that last annoying thread of credibility that was like a, one of the old man booger hairs hanging down from their beak, swinging in the wind. It's gone, fell out, landed in someone's lasagna over the weekend. So it starts like this. CNN sent a reporter out to track down some normal human being in her home because it happened that she interacted with one of the Facebook pages created by the Russians. So it was clearly an attempt to go out and say, you stupid flyover country, hick, moron, corn-eating, cow-raising, stupid head. We're coming in here from New York City. We're very sophisticated. We might well use words like effete and just use that to confuse you. So they go talk to this lady about having interactions with these Russian Facebook pages.
The Russians, I don't care if they were involved or not. That to me is the least important thing.
But they were involved with you. Did you guys know that?
They weren't involved with us. Just make sure that you report it correctly, that,
But you guys were involved with being patriotic, right?
Very, very patriotic, but not...
Being patriotic was the group that contacted and helped organize some of these activities that you posted on your own Facebook.
Oh, you got her now!
Yeah.
Those were legitimate.
Those were Russians.
They were not Russians. I don't go with the Russians.
That group was Russian.
I have nothing to do with the Russians.
Apparently you did.
No.
Even though the indictment says the Russians organized the rally, Ms. Goldfarb says she never communicated with any Russians, and no one at any of her events were anything but Americans for Trump.
This is CNN going out, finding people who have been fooled. The same CNN that has had to retract how many stories related to Trump. Now, this. Guess who promoted this event? Guess who promoted the Russian-created anti-Trump rally? CNN. Did they send a reporter to someone's Upper East Side condo overlooking the park, maybe Jeff Zucker's, and knock on his door and do a surprise gotcha interview with Jeff Zucker? Or the producer who sent people out to this? Or the segment producer? Or the research team? Did they go to the research team's smaller Soho walk-up and knock on their door, surprise them in their tiny little walk-up hallway? Did they go take the ambush tactics out on the road in New York City, down the street from the studio? How about they go see the advertisers?
How about to go see CNN's advertisers to say, did you know that you ran ads during a segment where we were promoting an event, an anti-Trump event created by the Russians? Well, here it is. This is CNN. Listen to them and the way they approach this event.
NBC's Morgan Radford is at Union Square in New York City. That is where the
That's NBC. CNN's in this as well.
Trump protest is just about to kick off. Can you tell who has organized this rally? It has been suggested that so many of the protests across this country have been impromptu rallies. I mean, it's been supported by a very diverse array of constituents. Is there someone in charge here?
Right now, this is lots of different groups of people who have come together with no necessarily official leader.
No, the leader is Vlad Putin.
That's been some of the criticism. People have said, well, what's the point? Do you have all these disparate groups coming together?
That woman, when she's saying she's concerned that black people will be shot in the street.
This is CNN. This is CNN. They're having a conversation. This woman is concerned that because President Trump is elected president, black people will be shot in the street.
People will be shot in the street. Did she back from that at all, or is that a legitimate concern for her? Because that's scary.
Alex, it's not only a legitimate concern for her, it's a legitimate concern for a lot of people who I've spoken to, not only at this protest, but people I've spoken to just in this city. They said they're wondering if this is almost a license to carry in terms of hate.
Do you think that this came from these Facebook pages? Yes, this is what the Russians wanted. CNN flies a camera crew out to flyover country to get this poor lady who's literally coming out of the house in housework clothes. You can tell she's in there, taking care of her home and her family. When they themselves fell for this. Now, I checked. Housewives don't have research teams. They don't have segment producers. They don't have executive producers. They don't have any of those things. She liked the page. And propaganda works this way, but CNN, you do have researchers. You do have segment producers. You can look into these pages. You should be stricken from the conversation. CNN should never again be mentioned in a conversation about news. That's it. That's the hair of credibility fell out of their beak. They're done. Now it's just it's info entertainment. Not even that. It's info, I don't know, what is it? Fluffotainment. We come back on the Todd Herman Show from the morning show. Guy apparently never sleeps, tracking down news as we speak. An exclusive news about a school shooting type event. In fact, a maybe school shooting in our own city. Jason Rance joins us with this exclusive next on the Todd Herman Show on AM 770 KTTH. Let's go check traffic with Right Way Traffic.
Southbound I-405 in Bellevue.